Hi everyone and welcome to episode 3 of Junk Journal Joy. I have a very exciting project to share today, so I'm going to dive right into it. We're going to be using this particular collage which I made on day 21 of my 100-day challenge, and this is going to be our focal image or inspiration for today's journal spread. And if you've been following this series on my YouTube channel, then you know that we're going to be making a companion spread today. So as always, I'm going to start by removing these photo corners, which I had used initially to store my collages in this beautiful journal that I have. And if you're interested to see all the 100 collages that I made during the 100-day challenge, then I'm going to link the playlist in the description box below. And if you're interested to see the Junk Journal Joy series, then I'm going to link the playlist for that as well. So one of the reasons why I'm super excited to share this project with all of you today is because I'm going to be finally using this beautiful moon rock textured paper that I have with me, and I've been waiting to use it for quite some time now. And I remember that when I was making this collage for the 100-day challenge, somewhere in the back of my head I had made a mental note that when I make a companion spread for it, it's definitely going to be with this moon rock paper. So yeah, definitely excited to use it. And you can see that the texture is already looking so beautiful without me having done anything else right now on the page. Just this collage and just the textural paper in itself is just looking so gorgeous. But yes, of course, we are going to be adding a few details. So I also wanted to use this sticker that I had with me as part of a journaling kit that I had received some time ago, and this had this beautiful lace sort of design on it. And because my collage had this little feminine touch with like this woman with a very steampunk like outfit, but also like these wings, and then I'd also added like a butterfly behind her, I wanted to add a little bit of like a feminine touch to the overall spread, and so I thought that lace would be an interesting idea. This is kind of like a mixture between goth, steampunk, fairy, butterfly, and some of those elements. So there's no definite theme, but it kind of like draws inspiration from different things that I like. And of course, I'm going to mix and match all of it to try and create a spread. So yeah, I obviously didn't want to waste my entire lace sticker, which is why I cut out just the portion that's going to be visible, and then I decided to use just that bit. Now, you all know that usually I don't stick a lot of elements right in the beginning itself because I want to first place certain items and just see how they're going to look like before I actually commit to sticking them. But in this particular case, I was actually very sure that I wanted to use the sticker, which is why I kind of just stuck that, onto the journal spread. I was 100% sure that I want this there. And then, of course, for the rest of the things, I'm still going to play around. One of the things that I had with me was this little box. It's like a paper box. It was the packaging for some ephemera or some items which I had received as part of a journaling kit. And the box in itself was very pretty, so I kind of saved that. And as you can see, it has these beautiful embossed flowers on it. I think these are roses or peonies. So I wanted to definitely use these as well. And it has this little pearlescence kind of effect. And again, it adds to that little feminine touch that I'm trying to go for in the collage, which is why I thought that I could use this as well. Again, this box has been with me for so long and I've just never found the right project for it, but I kept on saving it thinking that it has potential, and finally we are using it in this project. There was also this little printed paper that I had, and this was actually part of a sample kit that I had developed when I was testing different printers for journal supplies that I was designing, and I wanted to manufacture them. And so again, because it had this little grunge sort of an effect and it had this little sort of inky flower like thing going on, I thought this would also be something that we could use in today's journal spread. I did do a little bit of homework before I started filming this tutorial, in the sense that I just, as always, I just kind of pulled out all the supplies which were in the same color scheme as my collage. So it's not that everything's just coming very naturally and easy to me. And it's not that I had these supplies, readily available, or they were just not at an arm's distance available to me at my desk. I've just kind of dug up through all the boxes of ephemera and junk that I have, and normally what I do is I just kind of pull out these things and keep them ready before I start filming the video, because I hate to add too many cuts in my video, and I'd rather just like focus on the process rather than telling you, hey, let me go back and bring that, and hey, wait a second, I want to go back and bring that, and I don't want to keep digging through while I'm shooting videos. So anyway, so that was that's also like a sneak peek into how I shoot my videos, and so now you know my process. So once I know the theme for the particular video on that particular day, I just kind of go back and just look through my stash and just pick out things that I think might work for that video. So now, like as I was talking, you can see that I'm basically just playing with different placement options, and I'm trying to add some book pages, and I'm adding some vellum just so that there is a translucent layer through which we can see the details under. And then I also have these little doily sort of cutouts, and then I have this laser cut butterfly cutout. So the butterfly is something that I was very, very keen on using, because I already have a butterfly sticker behind the woman in the focal collage, and that's in black. And then I had this white butterfly which looks very similar to the black butterfly. So yeah, I was definitely keen to use that. But again, as you can see, I'm just kind of playing around with different placement options. I'm seeing the layout. I'm just removing pieces, adding a few pieces, moving them around, just rotating them, layering them, and seeing what will work and what will not work, and basically what I can discard. And so yeah, I do spend some time playing with everything that I have before I commit to the placement and before I start sticking everything down. This laser cut window frame like cutout that I had was something that I wanted to definitely use in this project, because the color was helping me to balance out the black details on the right side of the spread. But I didn't really have a contrasting background, and I didn't really have something interesting to go inside the frame. And I wanted to keep either like a secondary image which is similar to the primary image, or I wanted to keep like some sort of text inside it. So I had these two stickers, one of which had this beautiful woman. I think it was like an old ad for dresses or gowns or something like that. And so there was this woman standing, and then because that was too narrow, then I picked up another sticker which was in a similar color. And the details don't really matter much because they kind of faded out. But I basically used that to just increase the width of the sticker overall. And I stuck it on a blank piece of paper. And then I kind of cut it out using the frame as the reference so that I could have it cut to size. The reason why I had to stick these stickers separately on a white piece of paper was because they were translucent. And if I had stuck these on the background the way it was, then this woman would not have been visible clearly, and then the frame would not have looked as effective, and it wouldn't have looked the way I wanted it to look. So I basically just created like a separate piece out of these stickers, And so then that became like a separate piece of ephemera for me to play with. Then once again, I started playing with different placement options, and I was looking for other materials that I could use in the journal spread. I was very keen on using this mulberry paper that I have. It's either mulberry or sa or rice paper. It was a huge pack that I had ordered from Amazon, so I don't know which one is which, but the paper is definitely very, very beautiful. So I wanted to use some portions of that in the spread as well. Once I was done playing with all the different items that I had and I was somewhat happy with the placement, I decided to lock in on the left side of my page. That was something that I was absolutely sure of, and so I decided to stick all of those elements. I was still a little confused on what to do with the right side of the page, but the left side was something that I was pretty much confident on, which is why I thought that I could finally start sticking it and at least get that out of the way. One thing that you'll always notice in all my junk journal videos is that just because I've decided on a layout option and I think that this is what I've locked in on, it does not mean that things will not shift when I actually start to glue them down. When I actually start to glue down things, there are two factors that come into play. The first one is that I don't always click pictures of my layouts, so I don't really replicate them, and so sometimes I just forget where exactly I had decided on the placement of a particular piece of ephemera or a sticker or anything else, and so I'm just basically recreating it from my memory from a few minutes ago. Although the ideal way would be that you just click a picture and then you remove all the items and then you just kind of place it back. And ideally, if I was doing this as a professional collage and if I had to sell it or if this was like a client commission, then that's the way that I would go about doing it. But when I'm just doing these collages for fun, or if I'm just junk journaling for fun and it's just mostly for me, then I try to not stick to the rules, so to say, and I just kind of take it easy and I just let things happen. So that's the first factor, that I'm just doing it out of memory, and so some of the things will not be at the exact same spot. And then the second thing is that I like just kind of looking at the nitty-gritties of these placements and balance and harmony, etc. at this stage. I don't necessarily care so much about the balance right in the beginning. It's only when I'm actually gluing down things that I start to take this step seriously, so to say, because then I know that okay, once it's stuck, then it's stuck. Of course, you can always put more things on top and hide your mistake or cover up creatively, and there are so many other things. You don't have to worry about it and you don't have to beat yourself over it. But yeah, it's at this stage that I kind of open up that particular compartment in my brain where I'm like, okay, now let's just think of it in terms of like balance and harmony and, all those logical things. But before this stage, I'm basically just having fun. So if you ever see my videos and you think, oh, she had put this sticker, more to the left, or she had put this sticker more to the right when she was playing with the collage, and now that she's sticking it, she's kind of moved things around, and they've probably moved by centimeters, or sometimes they moved by inches, and sometimes I just actually just flip images, and I do like a lot of these impromptu things. Well, now you know that these are the two factors that come into play when I'm doing something like that. One of the things that I actually loved in this particular project was the opportunity to use a lot of vellum. So you see these little frames which are made on vellum, and then there's also the large vellum sheet with a little bit of text printed on it. And I love the fact that this is one of those projects where a lot of layers are created with the translucency that vellum offers. It kind of helps to fade out or blur out the details in the background so that they're not so overpowering, and then your focal limit stands out. But also at the same time, it's just a game of discovery, so to say, because anytime somebody sees this journal spread, they'd always kind of like come back to certain spots in the spread just to see what's behind a particular piece of vellum, or they try to read the text. And so these kinds of things just make you stay on the spread a little bit more. And so yeah, I love using layers, and vellum is definitely great for creating layers. So I loved using that in this particular project. And at this point, what you're actually seeing me do is just kind of playing around with a couple of other pieces that I had with me. I basically wanted to add a little more butterfly touch to the journal spread. And so I had this little fabric piece with a little butterfly stamp on it. And I also had this little cutout with butterflies on it. So I removed one of those square stickers which I had initially placed, which also has this woman in a very goth-like outfit. And I decided to kind of remove that and then just add this little fabric piece and the other butterfly element. As you can see, I was very, very attached to the butterfly cutout, and so I did spend quite some time in trying to figure out where it would look the best. I don't compromise on butterflies. I absolutely love them. So I like to show the wings as much as possible. I'm just too attached to butterflies and flowers and anything with like a natural or botanical element to it. So anytime there's a butterfly in my project, I will do my best to try and show it in its complete glory. So right now, what you are seeing me do in the video is basically just kind of battling it out in my head in terms of what looks aesthetic versus what's more for harmony and balance versus what is it that I'm just doing for my own whims and fancies. So yeah, that's just me, kind of just playing it out in my head. So I also had, of course, like a couple of other pieces in tones and shades of the color scheme. So I wanted to also include like a little bit of gray. And so again, you're just kind of seeing me play with different placement options and different pieces just to see what's going to look interesting. And I also wanted to include a little bit of text. So I had this little sticker with me which had like a little text on it, like a dictionary definition of a garden. And so again, I was trying to place it with the butterfly. And so yeah, you will finally see me place all these elements one by one. You'll notice that anytime that I'm introducing a new element in my spread, I am purposely trying to stay away from something that is too opaque and something that is too blocky or too chunky. And that's because I still want to maintain the layering effect that we have been creating so far. And I want to add more details, more layers, and I want to play with translucent papers, and I'm trying to not take anything which is too blocky or too chunky so that it doesn't take too much of attention and the emphasis is not so much on that particular piece. So yeah, that's one of the things that led me to remove certain pieces or introduce new pieces. So the little square cutout that we had initially placed under the window frame, that was also something that I removed because I found it taking too much of attention, and there were already two beautiful women in the journal spread. There was one on the main collage and then there was another one inside the window frame, and I felt like that third woman in that little cutout was not going in the overall scheme of things over here, and it was taking away attention from the other two women, which were my primary and secondary images. So again, because that would have been too jarring, it was not going with everything else, so I had to remove it. And the decision to add the little lace vellum under the garden text sticker was to kind of balance out the lace textures that we had done overall in the spread, and also to kind of balance out the lace that we had done on the right side of the spread. So that was my motivation to use the little thin strip over there. And so yeah, so with that I was somewhat happy with the left side of the page, and so then I decided to go ahead and start sticking everything on the right side of the page. And on the right side as well, you can see that I've used a little bit of vellum which has musical notes printed on it, which I thought was an interesting touch. It also balances out the vellum that we have used on the left side of the paper, and also at the same time it doesn't have text but it has musical notes, which is again like a unique detail, and it adds to a little more interest and drama in the spread. So I decided to use that. The moonrock paper is of course slightly tricky to stick, so yeah, I had to press it down a couple of times to make sure that it's in place. And after that I proceeded to adding the rest of the pieces. And I was also sort of thinking once again in my head if I wanted the heart collage to be at the bottom or at the top, and so I finally stuck to the bottom. Had I stuck it on the top, it would have clashed with the other image on the left side of the journal spread, and the bottom left of the right side of the page is where it was looking the best, so I kind of stuck to that. And so again, there's doilies, there's lace-like stuff, there's textures, there's vellum, there's interesting butterfly-like elements on the right side of the page as well. So it's kind of all balancing out with the left side of the page. You'll notice that the big vertical stripe that I've used on the top right of the right side of the page also has like a little portion of a butterfly visible. And so that is primarily my reason to use it, because you can see like the butterfly wing and you can see the head of the butterfly over there. And so that was my reason to use it, over there on the top right. And of course I had the little fabric piece with the little stamp on it, which was in a similar creamish color as the stickers that we had used inside on the frame on the left side of the page. So I used that as well. And what I love about these little creamish or these little faded ivory white or more like a dirty white elements on my page is that They are again giving a little bit more interest, and they're sort of like a break from the rest of the white, gray, black elements that we have used in the spread. So it's adding this little slight yellowness, and it almost looks like an aged effect, which I kind of love. So it, again, like I said, it adds to a little bit of visual break in the spread, which is why I decided to use these elements as well. And so again, you can see me playing with the butterfly element because as I have mentioned before, I am very attached to butterflies, and I was very, very, very attached to this particular cutout, and I so wanted to use it. So yeah, you can see once again that I'm trying to figure out if there's just, any way that I can squeeze it in, if there's any way, any possibility that this can also make the final cut. So yeah, again, I was just playing around with that. So as you can see, I finally decided to use it slightly behind the vellum, but over the lace. And so that adds to an interesting layer again. And I know that some of you are going to say that I have not done justice to the butterfly cutout because it's basically pretty much hidden. But the thing is that this is an interactive journal spread, and we are going to be making it in a way where the heart can also be removed. And so I want the journal spread to have details even behind the heart mini collage. And once you remove the collage, then you can see the butterfly completely. Right now we can't because the collage is on top, but this is one of those interactive journal spreads because we're going to be using the photo corners again. So in that sense, I want everything in the back as well to be as finished as everything is in the front of the spread. And so yeah, so that's why the butterfly cutout is there. So as you can see, once I remove the collage, you can pretty much see the whole piece. And that little lace thing that you saw me playing with earlier was just a leftover of the strip that we had used under the garden coat sticker. And again, just for the sake of balance, I wanted to add it on the right side of the page. And so it made the cut, and it was kind of like wedged in that little space where the moonrock textured paper had that little crevice. And then it was finally time to place the collage, which means it was time to bring back the photo corners and reuse them with a little bit of glue. And if you're wondering why I do this, it's because once you remove the photo corners, then they kind of lose their adhesion and they lose their stickiness. So instead of using new photo corners, I reuse these, and I don't want to waste these. And I just put glue on the back and just bring them wherever I need them in the journal spread and kind of just reuse them basically. After the collage was stuck, I had this little botanical sticker with me, and I was very, very keen on using it. And I tried multiple placement options, and I was just not sure where to use it. And I know that at this stage, the journal is pretty much complete, and I should be happy and satisfied with it. And I know most of you are going to say, hey, it's complete, and you should call it a day. But I was just so keen on using this particular sticker that I finally gave in. And I decided to stick it anyway, randomly, near the frame. And maybe if I don't like it, in the future, and if it kind of loses its stickiness, I'll probably remove it. But for now, I was just like, hey, it's my journal spread. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. It doesn't matter. And so I just used it over there. It's okay if it looks a little extra, and it's okay if it looks, I don't know. I don't think it looks ugly. And I don't even know if it's helping to balance things or not balance things. But in the moment, I was like, hey, it looks nice over here. Let's just stick it. And then the little woman cutout, which I had removed earlier, I was, again, I was kind of a little attached to it, and I felt bad that I had removed it. And so again, I was just trying to see if it can be used somewhere in the spread, but no, I mean, I think I had better judgment in that moment, and I was like, hey, I removed it for a reason, and the reason is still valid, which is that it's going to you know, take away the attention from the focal image. So I decided against that. But the botanical sticker is something that I didn't compromise on. So I did end up using it near the frame. So yeah, that was the final spread. And here are all the pretty beautiful shots of this journal spread that I had created. This has been one of my most favorite spreads in the series so far, and I think that's also because this was one of my most favorite collages in the 100-day challenge. So I absolutely loved creating this journal spread. And if you're enjoying this series and you'd love to watch more content on my channel, please do not forget to subscribe. It genuinely makes me so happy and also helps me to create more content for you. So please do like, share and subscribe, and I will be back with one more video for you super soon. Till then, keep creating. Bye.